For many hunters, the hunt is a means to an end. A successful hunt yields nutritious meat to be cooked in a variety of ways. On this episode, we'll learn some great recipes to try with your family for the holidays. We'll also visit the Atlanta Community Food Bank and find out why they appreciate the Hunters for the Hungry program so much. All this and more coming up next. Every year, sportsmen and sportswomen look forward to fall. Many are eagerly anticipating the opening day of dove season. This year, we joined them for an adult-child hunt sponsored by the Georgia Department of Natural Resources.
Good morning. Morning. Gonna have a raffle ticket. Now hang on to those. We got a bunch of prizes later, okay? Here you go. We got t-shirts for everybody too. See if that one looks good for you.
You good to go right there. That's good.
Let's see what it says. Teach your kids to hunt. Never have to hunt the kids.
Dove season is one of the early hunting seasons to open here in Georgia. It always opens the first Saturday in September. It's probably the most heavily hunted day of the dove season. A lot of people look forward to opening day with great anticipation. In the South here, it's more of a family social event than anything, really. We try to play that up, especially with our adult-child dove hunts. We try to make it really just a family day, something that the kids will enjoy, even though they may not get to harvest a dove.
We came last year, and it's a lot of fun, and I enjoy hunting a lot.
I'm here with my dad, my little brother, and my cousin. My dad, he likes to hunt a lot, so he raised me up as a hunter, and we just go hunting every year here.
Just wanted to bring my kids out and have a good time.
This is my first time ever dove hunting in my life.
Just shoot some doves and just have fun.
What we're hunting today is mourning doves, and really in Georgia that's the only game species. We also have now making its way in Georgia and getting established what's called the Eurasian collared dove. It's a big bird. It's kind of in between the size of a mourning dove and a pigeon, and it's not classified as protected wildlife in Georgia. It can be hunted, and there's no limit on it. And I'm told that since it's a little bit bigger than the mourning dove, that there's more meat, obviously, and the meat is tasty.
Here comes one right from the back. Okay, here he is.
For dove hunting, the field preparation really begins several months before dove season begins. Dove hunting is done usually in association with agricultural fields. So we will actually plant crops, seed crops like sunflowers, brown top millet, corn, wheat, several months ahead in order to harvest the crop before dove season comes in. And it's through that harvest and the natural scattering of the seeds that attracts the doves. I would like for folks to realize that the Wildlife Resources Division operates several different public dove fields across Georgia. We had, I believe, over 40 designated dove fields this summer, this fall. So there is the opportunity there for people who do not have access to dove hunting on private land to hunt on one of the lands managed by the Department of Natural Resources Wildlife Division. Doves are a game bird. They can and should be eaten if they're hunted. Most people just eat the breast. That's about the only real meat you can get off a dove, and it's a dark meat. It's very rich, but it's usually pretty tender.
If you ask hunters, do you eat what you harvest? An enthusiastic yes may be followed by explanations of exactly how to prepare your own wild game.
Just cook them on the grill.
Salt and pepper, season it with some spices and put it in a crock pot. Cook it all day.
I like to pan fry it with a little bit of sherry or red wine. I think that's real good, and cook some rice to go with it.
We decided to discover a few wild game uses for the holidays. Quail Restaurant has been named one of America's top new restaurants by Gourmet magazine. As a boy in rural France, Chef Joël Antoinez learned to cook on his grandmother's wood-burning stove. The meals they prepared together were often wild game, and Joël is happy to bring these same techniques to Georgians. Today he prepares a quail dish, which could also be used for dove, and is perfect for holiday gatherings.
Good afternoon, I'm Chef Joël from Joël Restaurant. Today I'm going to prepare the quail in a pleuve pastry with a little bit cabbage and foie gras and mushrooms. It's a very good dish for the winter times and Christmas, New Year's. And today on the market you have two different kinds of quail. You have the wild quail and the farm-raised quail. 95% of the production is a farm-raised quail because the wild are so rare and it's very difficult to find now. My quail today just came from the market this morning. I'm going to prepare the quail. The first thing, you need to debone the quail. If you don't know that, you can buy some quail from the market, they're already deboned. The first step is to take the breast and the legs from the side of the bird. And the second thing you need to do is to make some stuffing, the classical stuffing. You make with some bread, mushrooms, cabbage, and a little bit Parmesan cheese. Here we have one breast with the legs. The next step, what you need to do is just to bite a little bit. Little bit of black pepper. And the stuffing, we just put maybe like 1 spoon, like 1 ounce of stuffing. You need to do something like little bit like a hamburger. And the next step, what you need to do is to use a pleuve pastry. You need to cut the same size or a little bit bigger of the bird. After, you just roll a little bit. You just put a little bit yolk eggs. And in the middle, we just put the quail. And after, we just close. Okay, and when it's finished, you make something look like a small ham, like a rabbit's legs. And after, you just need to brush with a little bit yolk eggs. And when you cook, it gives nice color of the pleuve pastry. You can make some design on the top, a little bit design. And now it's ready to cook. Donc, always use some parchment paper and a little bit flour. Donc it takes like 12 minutes, 375 degrees, and to be pink. If you want well done, you cook 14 minutes. And we're going to cook the matsutake mushrooms. We just put a little bit olive oil and a little bit chicken stock. Okay, also I have my sauce here. Always my sauce is very light juice or broth because you know, I don't like to make all my dish too heavy because you know I like to keep the more simple and natural as possible. When you make a food, make simple you can, and I think it's the best way to keep the taste of the produce. Because at the end you want to taste the quail before anything else on the dish because it's a quail dish. Now you can see this mushroom, you can cook very, very quickly. It takes maybe only 45 seconds. When they're ready, you just keep on the side. The sauce also. After the quail is ready, yeah. You can see it looks like a small ham, you know, very nice, very pretty. And the nice thing, you know, you have the crunchy of the puff pastry, and after you have the breast of the quail, the legs, and the garnish made with the bread and cabbage is very, very nice. Most of the time when the quail is ready, you need to keep like 2 or 3 minutes outside. If you keep longer, you need to cut pieces of puff pastry because you make a steam and it will be overcooked after. You just cut in the middle. And you can see everything is very nice, very pink. You just put on a plate like that. After you just finish with the sauce. Now never put the sauce on the puff pastry because you want to keep the crunchy taste of the puff pastry. Donc you just put a little bit sauce around. Nice quail, still a little bit pink because you don't want to overcook after it's too dry. Bon appétit!
When out harvesting game, remember the 10 commandments of shooting safety. Treat every gun with the respect due a loaded gun. Keep safety on until ready to shoot. Unload guns when not in use. Be sure barrel is clear of obstruction and that you have ammunition of the proper size. Be sure of the target before you pull the trigger. Never point a gun at anything you do not want to shoot. Never climb a tree or jump a ditch with a loaded gun. And never pull a gun toward you by the muzzle. Never shoot a bullet at a flat, hard surface or water. Store guns and ammunition separately, beyond the reach of children. Avoid alcoholic beverages before or during shooting. Visit this website for more information about hunting in Georgia.
When you think of a holiday meal, you may not automatically think of venison. But each year in November, hunters across Georgia provide holiday meals for other Georgians. How? By donating the deer they harvest to the Hunters for the Hungry program, sponsored by the Department of Natural Resources.
The Hunters for the Hungry program started because there's a need to provide meat to needy families, and hunters saw that need and responded to it by being able to provide their game, their harvest, to those needy families.
You're doing well. Looks like you're doing pretty good too.
There are 2 weekends during the month of November which hunters can drop off their game to be donated to the program. And once it's dropped off at the collection site, it's taken to the Department of Corrections, where they process the meat at their USDA licensed facility, and in turn the meat delivered to the Atlanta Community Food Bank for distribution throughout the state to all their regional distribution centers. In addition to weekend sites, hunters can also donate their game to certain processors throughout the whole month of November. These selected processors then in turn process the meat and donate that back to the Atlanta Community Food Bank, where it also is distributed throughout the state. What makes this program unique is that it highlights the generosity of our hunters here in this state by them sharing their harvest, as well as the venison that is produced is very high in protein, low in fat, which is quite healthy and a really desired meat source for needy people.
Just come to donate some deer to feed the hungry, try to help a few people out that's not so fortunate.
It's going to a good cause. The food that generated is going to people that need it, and I'd rather, that's one way I can meet the needs of everybody else that I don't know.
I think it's a great opportunity for hunters to get some good publicity and to show that they do care. I mean, the resources that we have and the deer here, being able to donate that to Feed the Hungry is definitely a positive program in my mind, and I'm glad to be a part of helping out.
I don't think a lot of folks know what goes on. You know, if they did, they'd have a different outlook. But this day and time, people, you know, they think all hunters is bad. They don't see the good side. It's easier to remember the bad than it is the good.
Usually we'll take in, with both the weekend sites and the processor sites, somewhere between 700 and 900 deer a year, totaling up to about 20,000 pounds of meat each year. Once a hunter harvests a deer, all they need to do to donate it is just simply get it to a collection site, whether it's a weekend site or a licensed processor. Just bring them to them, and we'll take it from there. Once they do turn in a deer, we'll have them sign their name and let them get registered to receive, put them in a drawing for a deer rifle, as well as receive some sort of giveaway item, whether it's a t-shirt or a hat or a vest or something.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it too.
There are many partners in the Hunters for the Hungry program, which is coordinated by the Department of Natural Resources, but we couldn't do it without the help of the Georgia Wildlife Federation, Department of Corrections, Department of Agriculture, and of course the Atlanta Community Food Bank.
The Atlanta Community Food Bank was founded in 1979, and we serve 700 partner agencies in the metro and North Atlanta area. That's 38 counties in total. We distribute 15 million pounds of food annually to the 700 partner agencies that we serve in the North Atlanta and Metro Atlanta area, 38 counties in all. The agencies are twofold. Some are pantries where they actually give the food to the individuals in need, and some are on-site feeding programs. The setup is very much like a warehouse. They come, they shop like you would in a warehouse shopping situation with your float. We do have a shared maintenance fee up to 16 cents per pound that we charge the agencies to cover costs, to cover electricity, salaries, trucking, gas, and the like. The Hunters for the Hungry program is so important because of the rising costs of meat and the need for meat and protein-rich products such as venison in our community. Families that live in food insecure households do not receive protein products. They're expensive. We do not receive many donations of protein and venison and other like products because of the rising costs and because of the economy.
Project Open Hand is a Meals on Wheels kitchen here in Atlanta. We serve 3,500 Meals on Wheels a day to those who would otherwise not be able to feed themselves. The critically ill, homebound seniors, that's our main client base. Hunters for the Hungry is a wonderful program because it provides for our facility a very high protein, very wonderful, what chefs call center of the plate. The most expensive item in most meals is in fact the meat or the center of the plate. And in order to be able to afford to give a high quality, nutritious product to our clients who would otherwise not be able to eat, Hunters for the Hungry affords us that product through its annual venison gathering.
Atlanta Union Mission is a nonprofit agency that helps the homeless and underprivileged in Atlanta and the Southeast. We have recovery programs for people who want to change their life. We have a community kitchen, and we do other basic services in Atlanta. One of the problems is that meat is very expensive, beef especially, but getting the venison here actually makes it a lot easier to serve more people. It allows us to give good quality meals to the people we serve. A lot of them would not normally have good meals or nutritious meals if they didn't come to the mission or other like places like us. I wish they would even expand it more with other game meats. I mean, it's a wonderful resource that we need to utilize better.
If it wasn't for the hunters who were willing to donate their harvested deer, we would not be able to provide this protein-rich venison to our constituents. The food bank is very lucky and blissful that we have such generous hunters in our community.
A traditional Thanksgiving meal always includes turkey, and one popular way to prepare the holiday bird is to fry it. Turkey season in Georgia begins in March and continues through April. So if you are industrious in the spring, you can harvest a bird and freeze it for the November festivities. But if you don't have a hunter in the family, this frying method will work just as well with a farm-raised bird. we asked Chef Scott Peacock of Watershed Restaurant for some tips on frying a turkey. Chef Peacock is famous for his fried chicken and delectable southern side dishes. He and Chef Edna Lewis co-authored an acclaimed cookbook on great southern cuisine. He has agreed to show us a great and easy way to enjoy wild or farm-raised turkey for Thanksgiving.
Deep frying has become an increasingly popular way of cooking a turkey, and it's very good for your standard grocery store or butcher shop turkey, but it's really an excellent way for a turkey that's been harvested from the wild. Those birds tend to be leaner, and the deep frying is very quick and seals in the juices, makes for an exceptional bird. So there are a few things that you need whether you're frying either variety of turkey, and that is a propane burner and a very large, at least a 10-gallon stock pot. These come together in kits all in one, so you don't have to go out and shopping for the different pieces and put it together. And you need to do this outside. It's very, very important to do this outside. You don't want to risk having a 10-gallon pot of oil boiling away. You want to put the dog inside, get the kids somewhere off away. You don't want to knock this pot of oil over. Aside from that, it's a very straightforward and very, very easy process. And the great thing is that it really only takes about 3 minutes a pound to cook a turkey. So instead of having your turkey in the oven for 3 or 4 or 5 hours, you can knock this out in 30 to 45 minutes usually. So we have our oil heating up here, and we're going to season our turkey and get it ready to go into the pot. This turkey I've soaked in a brine of water and salt, which is 1 cup of salt, kosher salt, to 1 gallon of cool water. And you put it in the refrigerator and leave it overnight, even up to 2 days. And what that does is the salt, the seasoning really penetrates the bird all the way down through the flesh to the bone and makes for a really delicious but very true flavored bird. A lot of people use these injectors. That's fine if you're into that. It's not my cup of tea. So I just like a good, really good salt seasoning on the bird. And then I take a little bit of dried thyme, not too much, and we're going to sprinkle it all over the outside of the turkey. You also need a very dry bird. You don't want a lot of splattering when it goes into the oil. It's important. And you also want to take the turkey out at least half an hour to an hour and let it sit at room temperature before you fry it. Otherwise, it's going to not cook very evenly, but it's also going to drop the temperature of the oil down so cool when you put it in that it's going to slow things down and take it a while to come back up. If you want to, you can work your fingers underneath to separate the skin a little bit to get seasoning actually down onto the flesh. And then just work the herbs up in there as well. If you had some fresh bay leaves or some fresh sage leaves, you could also put those underneath the skin. You do want to take the giblets out. Very important, the package, the giblets in the neck. Remove those, and while you're at it, put some seasoning on the inside too, of course. So I'm going to take the wings and tuck them back underneath the back. So, most kits today come with these inserts that are meant to thread the turkey down. There we go. And then, let's cover that over here. Great. So now you're ready to put the turkey in the grease. So you want the oil to preheat slowly so that it's very stable, and bring it up. I'm using 100% peanut oil. You could use corn oil if you wanted to, but I think peanut is really the best for frying. It's a very dense fat, and it has a very high smoking point. It's excellent, excellent for frying. So I'm going to very carefully check in here. You want it to come up to about 390 degrees, 380, 390 degrees. And that's to allow for some cooling down when you put the turkey in. Once you actually get the turkey in, you want to cook it for 3 minutes a pound at about 355, 360 degrees. It's great. It's ready. So now, very, very carefully, lower this down into the fat. So we're going to give this a minute to settle down. We're going to check the temperature, regulate the gas if we need to, so we keep it at an even temperature of 355, 360 degrees. And this is about a 10-pound turkey, so in about 30 minutes we should have a bird that's ready. Okay, so this has been cooking for about 35 minutes now. It's golden brown all over. It's delicious smelling. I'm gonna take it out, set it here on the table. Be very careful doing this. If you have mitts or some heat-proof gloves, this would be a much better idea. This is dangerously, hospitalizingly hot. But there we go. Oh, it looks pretty good. So now that this is out, this needs to rest for about 20 minutes before you slice it. Of course, you can let it rest completely to room temperature and it'll be excellent that way too. So this has been resting for 20 minutes. We're gonna give it a taste, the test taste, see how it is. This looks really, really good. It's really, really hot. Oh, it's really, really delicious. And we're going to serve this fried turkey up with some side dishes prepared out of the new cookbook that Edna Lewis and I have written together called The Gift of Southern Cooking. And we have some spicy collard greens, they're delicious, some pumpkin that's been roasted with walnuts and rosemary, my mother's hot water cornbread, which is one of my favorite things in the entire world, and some homemade cranberry relish cooked with port and orange. It's just delicious.